going on, everybody? I am here with my man Kyle KJ. Well, Kyle Johnson.
Yeah,
is his birth name. Yeah. So I keep cutting it short on all the videos. But if you have not seen part 1 and part 2, as soon as you're done with this, go back and watch all 3 in a row. Whatever you do, don't let yourself down and not watch these. But he is here with his hashtag IBB top 3
trilogy
keys to success, and has a couple very, very good conversations on the previous ones. I am super excited to jump into the third one. So my friend, take it away.
So my third key to success is connections. What I mean by that is I'll take you back to a field trip to the first key
I
to
love
success.
field trips. All right, cool.
My IBB top 3 trilogy to education. So when I mentioned that, 2 things. Education for a thought process, and then education in terms of job training.
Yeah.
So in grad school, I went to go get a job.
Yes.
That was my purpose of grad school. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I went there to go get a job purposefully. Mm-hmm. And what?
So stop. I want to stop. When you steal more of your stuff. You went to grad school to get a job. You had an idea of what you wanted, and you knew that that was going to get you there. If you are out there and you're like, I'm just going to go to grad school. Why? Well, I can't find a job, so I'm just going to go.
It's like the thing to do, I hear.
Don't just go. Have, like, in my industry, in my field, this will get me the job. Or this will get me the pay raise. You know, research ahead of time before you just go to grad school.
Yeah, that too. Sorry. And, ideally it would happen in undergrad too, but that's part of how figure out people
that's way too much. We can't ask that.
So,
we can't.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
How else are you going to try things out?
Yeah, sorry.
So
you went to grad school to get a job.
I went to grad school to get a job. Yeah. Part of that, and a big part of what I did in grad school was every single opportunity I had to meet someone in my industry, I did. For those of you who I didn't tell anyone, I have a master's in public administration, specialization in economic development.
I didn't tell anyone.
So I met site selectors, I met with the economic development director of the city of Cleveland, and all of these folks in between there, real estate, brokers, really anything that I could, and I did a lot of interviews. Yeah. So informational interviews. So I went to these folks and I interviewed them about their job and about what they do, not only to have a connection in the future for myself, but more so to learn about if this is for me.
Right.
So, and having those connections it provided more connections and more connections and more connections. And I still see a lot of these folks and have really good relationships with them. It takes work to have any relationship, but it's really important. And I've kept that going through kind of each new job that I've had as well. So worked for the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, for example, and I love all those people there. They're fantastic. And still stay in contact to the extent that I can with folks. Yeah. Planning on going back at some point to visit in Wisconsin, and I'm certainly going to call up those folks and see if we can meet up. Yeah,
connection. Is there something, when you are trying to make connections, do you feel that people do a good enough job trying to pursue connections on purpose? Because I feel like a lot of times, there are random connections that you make. Yeah. But usually those random connections are like while you're on the path to trying to purposely make other connections. Yeah. So is there anything that you would tell yourself to remind yourself to actively seek connections? Is there anything that you do now to actively seek connections? Is there anything that you would say, hey, audience, if you want to make good connections, here's a way you can do it?
So I actually advise a fraternity of sorts, or have in the past at least. I try to mentor students when I can, and one of the big things that I always tell them is that, you know, you would be surprised what people are willing to do if you only ask. And I mean that in this context, when I called up folks and I was in grad school, or when I call up folks even today with my job, people are usually more than happy to provide information.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, kids who are a bit younger are a little bit timid on. So to help me get past that, you know, because it's kind of this big moment when you're meeting, you know, so I was in economic development, and when I'm meeting the director of economic development for the city of Cleveland, or, you know, and like, that's a big kind of moment. And it's really important. So you take lots of notes and you go over your notes and your questions, and each time you go over it, like, it can be intimidating, where if that's, you know, a high point or a point to get there in your career, that can be really intimidating. But going through it makes it easier.
Right.
So the more that we are practicing these things, the easier it becomes, right? So what I would tell myself is, like, I knew where I wanted to go in grad school. Like, I had the goal. Like, it was there.
I could see it.
And this is my steps to it. So that was a big kind of confidence builder, is like, I need to get information from this person. Like, I need to know if this is for me. So, you know, that exploration, I think, is what really makes a difference. So that kind of curiosity and exploring and having the openness to learn if something's for you or not for you is really important. And it's not something that I see a whole lot of, especially now. You know, people go to college and just kind of get an education, and they don't reach out to any folks. And on the other end, folks don't really reach out to them. So, you know, it's a shame that there aren't as many mentoring programs as there should be. There are a lot of internships and stuff where you get coffee for folks, or might work on a senior project or something like that. But, you know, I think it's the duty of the students to reach out to the companies, and the duty of the companies to reach out to the students, because, you know, it's only providing value to society as a whole, right? So, you know, I think that there needs to be a bigger connection between those two things. You know, I was, you know, smart enough or hardworking enough to realize that, but I don't think everyone is.
And it just, until you, like you said, until you feed that curiosity and you do go explore, you know, what is out there to create, you know, to make those connections. Until something happens, you don't know that it's, like, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you hear, and that's what kills me too, is like, that's why I love doing these videos, and thank you for doing this, is like, so many people, like, growing up, whether it's coaches, parents, guardians, mentors, or in any way, shape, or form, teachers, like, they give you, like, these, you know, little tidbits on life, and it seems like they're just telling you that as a knee-jerk, like, well, just connect with someone. It's all about mentorship. Work hard. You know, like, just, you hear it over and over, so you just think that it's, like, just an adult answer to a really...
You take it for granted, for sure.
And then you become an adult and you're like, holy crap, these are just the absolute indefinite basics that work. So...
Well, the one big thing that I took away from it, and that I thought about in that process, was this could potentially help me avoid a mistake. There are lots of folks out there.
Avoid mistakes?
Yeah.
Which is, everyone's afraid of. That's like, I make them all the time, but I know that holds me back a ton, that, well, I just don't want to make a mistake. But you don't have to if you connect with someone who's already made that mistake. Yeah.
Well, and lots of folks. I mean, we know people. Like I know people. I'm sure you know people who went to college. They got a big, expensive degree in something, and they, may have had the benefit to get a job in that too, and they hate it.
Yep.
While you're in high school or college or graduate school, you actually go out there and you talk to companies and like, well, that sounded really great on paper, but
in real life, this sucks. Awful. This is the worst.
I mean, and you can apply that to really any industry. Firefighter, what you're done? You guys aren't putting out fires every day. Come on,
like, wait a minute.
Or whatever it is. They see movies or media or whatever, and there's kind of action-packed and excitement, and then the mundane boringness of certain jobs can kind of beat you up after a while. But that was something that I proactively looked at to help me avoid a big mistake.
I love it. So help, feed your curiosity and go explore to make connections to help you avoid making mistakes, especially ones that you have to literally pay money for.
Yeah.
So if you make mistakes that are free, it still sucks, but it didn't cost you anything.
Cost you half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour. So. But anything else to
add? That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our last and final awesome parts of my man's IBB Top 3 trilogy. And until next time,
stay burn proof.